is or how well done it is. We don't know yet. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Smudcast number 814. Why are gamers so scared of bad video games? I don't know. None of us do. We've never heard this question posed before. I have not been scared of video games before, unless they were scary video games. So I can't say. But this is the TheGamerTronShow, and he had this video came out in August of last year. And this is interesting. He has 70+ thousand subs, and this video made less than 2,000 views. So I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what this is about. It could just be a random rant video. It could just be an imaginative concept he had in his brain, and he wanted to let it out. It could be that. We don't know, because I've never heard of people being scared of games outside.
I will admit.
Okay.
I am scared of Path of Exile's crafting system.
Oh.
I have never played Path of Exile.
There's a good tutorial video somewhere. It's about 2 hours long. It goes about the basics.
At best, I've heard of people being, intimidated by certain games that are out of their ballpark in terms of what they're used to playing. It's like a game that's of a genre that they're not familiar with. But that's all I've heard.
Yeah.
Games that have obscenely long crafting chains can be overwhelming.
Yeah, that's a specific example, yeah.
I don't know if chain is the right word. It's more like a quantum mechanical in folded space brain wrench fuck.
I say a crafting chain as an example because we're playing Terraria, and there are some very long crafting recipes to make amalgamation items.
Yeah, look. That is all determinable and linear. You have so because this is a bit off topic. The whole joke is the crafting system. If I start trying to explain it to you, we will be here tomorrow, and it's a Lovecraftian nightmare, and that's the appeal.
Good God!
All right, so that's an element of the game, not the whole
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, the end game is basically you are required to figure it out because you will otherwise not make it very far into the end game of the end game.
Oh, all right. Well,
it's a little bit like the skill tree in the game, which is actually what drew me to Path of Exile, because that skill tree is just yes.
Look, if the skill tree scares you, then do not ever look at the crafting system.
All right. Well,
the skill tree that thing is like.
I think
it's like a beautiful cushion to rest your head on.
I think
they are making a sequel to Path of Exile.
Yes, next month it's gonna come out.
I hope the skill tree is even bigger.
I think the idea is that we're scared of trying a new game, as Gingaman was referring to, and we don't want to pick it up. We don't want to buy it. We don't want to spend the time, and that's why I linked the Veilguard Dragon Age into the description here, because a lot of people are a little cautious about checking it out because of what we've heard, and then just recently they've seen a lot of good screenshots, or they've seen the hair physics everyone's impressed by, which is a weird cosmetic.
They haven't shown any gameplay.
Oh, they've done that. IGN. The thing with IGN is it's very biased. So as soon as you watch an IGN video, it's like, oh, it's amazing, it's great. It's like, yeah, it's fine, it looks good, but it doesn't really. Nothing's blowing my mind. So it's trepidatious. We're not sure what to think. And that's not fear. That's just.
You
brought up
with people avoid bad games because money, and that's being lumped in with fear because people stay away from the things that they fear. Whereas it's
Frednod, are you telling me that resources are limited?
Yes, I believe he is.
But isn't that what the environmentalists on the left have always preached to us, that resources are limited, but somehow money is infinite? So we can buy everything, but we can't have everything?
I have no idea.
I'm confused. Anyway.
Money is infinite because it's a concept, and concepts that don't actually exist. So since
Yeah,
money
but
doesn't
no.
exist,
Fred, no, it's. I was pointing at the hypocrisy of the left.
And money is finite. Like I've got a few $100
Value.
put aside in my savings, but
value is finite.
that's savings, emergency money.
All right.
Yeah, that aside, Smart, you brought up the right word, so I don't need to worry about spoilers, and that is caution. And with most of things, and then caution is the thing in between, the extremes of philia and phobia. So the same is that would be prudence, I believe, prudentia, and the same would be true about this whole xenophilia, xenophobia issue. What people really are is xenoprudence, or however you say that in Latin.
A little.
They're cautious.
Prudence is not a bad thing. It's good to be. You can be optimistic, but you can still be cautious about these things.
That is what prudence means. Prudence is Latin for caution.
All right. Well, let's see what this YouTuber has to say. I can't remember, but I know we have covered him before, and it didn't go too well. So, you never know.
I'm trying to remember the exact video, but I think we have covered him before.
And the thumbnail here shows
conservative
examples.
gamers we need to talk.
Yeah.
On the thumbnail,
711.
But on the concepts for his examples on the thumbnail, we have a mediocre game and 2 dumpster fire train wrecks.
All right.
Wait. Which one's the mediocre game?
Forspoken. Anyone who's actually played Forspoken said good gameplay, bad story, bad writing.
Yeah, okay.
But it's a third-person action game.
The gameplay is just mediocre, isn't it?
Yeah, it's functionable. It works. It's fun, but it's a third-person action game. They're a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
And if you're going to drop $60, $70 on a third-person action game, you want it to be really fun and good.
Baby's first open-world action RPG.
Basically, and there's plenty of other action RPGs that are better, like Final Fantasy 15 and 16, or the Yeast franchise. Like there's plenty of good open-world action RPGs out there that aren't whatever the hell Forspoken was.
All right. Okay. We can go on.
I will assume this whole thing is a straw man, because we've been through this for decades. When Command & Conquer 4 came out, one of those games that doesn't exist, we all agree upon. No. Just like there was no Matrix 2. Or Dune 4.
And there is
or Highlander 6.
There is no Jack and Daxter Lost Frontier.
That kind of, there was a game that wasn't. And
you mean
people were not scared of that game. They didn't buy it because it was so bad it wasn't even pirated. When your product is so bad it's not even pirated, it's not that because people are scared of it. It's because it's just
not worth their time. It's not worth their investment.
We're not scared of bad things. We just, exactly as you said, we don't want to waste our time, because you know what is also limited? Life.
All right.
I'm only here on this earth for a limited amount of years, and why should I waste it on bad crap?
All right. Let's not get existential here. Let's just listen to what the guy has to say. Here we go.
Hey, hi. How you doing? This is Ryan, and welcome back to the GamerTronShow. Now let's not waste.
Sounds like an AA meeting already.
Any time and just get straight to the title of the video. Why are gamers
Hi, I'm Seraph, and I'm an alcoholic.
Of bad video games, and what do I mean by that exactly? Well, as I'm sure you're all well aware by now, I am a staunch opponent of the whole gaming is dying, gaming is boring, gaming is no longer fun hysteria, and one of the most utilized tool in the arsenal of arguments. Defending this position are recent, modern, genuinely, objectively bad video games. In this year in particular, 2023, our three main contenders are Forspoken, Redfall, and Gollum. Gamers would have you believe that because of the release of these free flops in 2023, that this is...
Does this guy have a lisp? What's going on here?
Okay, these are just games that released in 23. Here's the thing, like I said, Forspoken people just came across as being generic and mediocre. Gollum and Redfall are god-awful, barely functioning dumpster fires that should never have been out of testing.
I was gonna say
Redfall
Gollum.
killed
people said
Arcane
Bayonetta Origins is
Austin.
also bad.
I was gonna say Gollum actually came out.
Yeah, Gollum actually came out. You can buy it right now for like, I forget how much it is.
Why
I'm
would
not
I
paying
want?
for it.
Why would I want it? It's a dumpster fire.
Yeah, Redfall killed Arcane Austin. The game was so fucking bad, it killed a development studio.
Well, that's nothing new.
And that is the course of the industry and always has been. There are mega flops once in a while where people dump money into something and then for some reason either the game is so bad or the release story was so hampered that the studio died. That was the case for
once in
Troika
a while.
games. Troika games did not make bad games. They just weren't allowed to release their last one because it was done in the Half-Life 2 engine, and Half-Life 2 hadn't released yet because Valve was
Source,
pushing
yeah.
that further. And
Source.
so they couldn't make their money back and died in the meantime.
To be fair, Redfall, Arcane wasn't the only one at fault for Redfall's disaster. Microsoft is the one that said
Bethesda.
release it in an unfinished state. Well, Microsoft and Bethesda, owned by Bethesda. You know what I mean.
Owned by
Bethesda,
Microsoft.
owned by Microsoft, is the one that told them to release it. I don't care if it's ready or not, and you can see what happened there.
I mean,
And then
even just
Microsoft
seeing the
killed
reveal
Arcane.
trailer for it, just seeing the reveal trailer for it, it looked fucking horrible.
I mean, it's Left 4 Dead with vampires. How do you screw that up?
Quite easily.
Yeah.
All right.
I think the entirety of all these arguments that attack gaming is they're old strawman because nobody really makes them except for spiteful people who aren't even into video games.
Or people rage baiting on Twitter trying to farm engagement.
There's an
4 Dead
overlap.
So Left 4 Dead itself was actually a triumphant achievement for the developers.
This could just be an
the-
extension of Sturgeon's Law, I think. He might be getting to that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
The original developers of Left 4 Dead left Valve and they made Back 4 Blood. And
Which is another one that's just mediocre.
Yeah, it kind of just died very quickly. It had a lot of hype to it, but then it just sort of fell off and just died. And I don't know if they're still supporting the game now.
I think they are. I think the servers are still active.
It's doing better than that Sony game. What's it called?
You talking about Concord?
Yeah, that one.
It didn't last 2 weeks. That's just sad.
I legit forgot the name.
All right.
No.
Let's see what he has to say.
Is evident decline of gaming. Now, of course, this is an absurdist position to take. With the releases of The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom,
He's
Resident
also
Evil 4 Remake,
neglecting the
Dead Space
game that he's
Remake, Street
showing
Fighter
gameplay
6,
footage
Final
of that
Fantasy
released in a
16,
broken,
Pikmin
unfinished state.
4, Fire
Can you pause because I can't hear what you're saying when he's talking?
Sorry. Anyway, as I was saying, the one he's showing gameplay footage of while he's talking over it is Battlefield 20, some future
42.
bullshit number. I forget when it was. It was released in a broken 2042. It released in a broken, unfinished state. Like it was
not
non-functioning.
And
So
Tears
not
of the
remains-
Tears of the Kingdom sold like hotcakes, but
Yeah.
but the story was so bloody bad that they had to
Yeah.
pull the entire Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom thing out of the old timeline idea.
Yeah,
And
like I have
This is
my
absolute
grievances
garbage.
with Tears of the Kingdom. Its gameplay is not one of my grievances. The story is my problem with it.
Yeah.
But
I think that, and
personally,
I have a weird hunch that was actually ESG influenced.
Yeah, 'cause
Emblem,
it
Baldur's
does.
Gate Free, Remnant 2, Amnesia the Bunker, Hi-Fi Rush, and now the most recently released Armored Core 6. All of these critically acclaimed releases in 2023, irrefutable evidence that the video game industry is still producing quality products. Hell, I only listed off some of the more mainstream critically acclaimed titles that released in 2023. I haven't even gone into the breadth and depth of indie releases. When it comes
The breadth It's a list. It's not a freaking ocean.
Bread and depth. I think you mean the bread and butter of indie releases.
No. He's trying to say there's a lot, right? But he's not using that phrase properly. It's not how you describe a list. Anyway, just a silly. I don't know. People use buzzwords and colloquialisms all the time improperly, and I don't want to be a grammar Nazi with these people. So it's like, all right, I know what you're trying to say. Just chill.
A better way to say that was the whole slew of indie releases that came out this year.
That would have been fine.
2023, there is no shortage of good gaming to be had, yet this year, like every year in gaming, there is a sizable portion of people online still proclaiming the death of gaming. Now, of course, there are other reasons for this, and not just the release of some bad video games. Of course, microtransactions, bad business practices, etc., etc. There are many reasons surrounding the anti-gaming rhetoric, but...
People are critical of the industry. That's not anti-gamer.
Yeah,
anti-gaming. They're calling out developers and the people that own them.
Yeah, there's lots of
like
things.
Saying if you criticize the working conditions of coal miners in the 1800s, that you are anti-coal. No, I kind of want the coal because I don't want to freeze.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of games which I appreciate, and yet they have things I don't like in them, like microtransactions or the model of always online or what have you. But the story's there, the gameplay's there, and I like the progression system. So I have to live with, like, no game is perfect. But we can see these patterns over the years and go, yeah, the industry's going in that direction, and I'm not going with it. So that's generally how it goes. And you just speak with your wallet, and things hopefully go in that direction. But I'm not here to lecture people what's good and bad. I'm just saying why these things don't work and how that could be seen as good and bad in your eyes. So if we want to talk about technical issues, why something online is always bad, there's always a delay, that might annoy some people who like high frame rates, or having their save file destroyed because it wasn't connecting at the same time. All kinds of things could happen. So yeah, it's up to the critics to point out these problems and constantly remind people they're bad or flawed or an issue.
For this video, we're going to focus specifically to the reactions and the, quite frankly, overreactions of the release of bad video games, and why I personally find this deeply troubling and concerning.
Okay, so this guy doesn't like a bunch of people online who are bigger than him with a bigger megaphone saying things he doesn't like. That's all this video is now. I'm sure.
Never criticize bad games. Only accept them and move on.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to get Heels versus Babyface talking about Starfield, Asmongold saying anything.
Consumer.
It's called customer protection. The other part is the really bad games are still good for a laugh. That's why we cover them. Not buy, but cover. Because the people who made the mistake of buying them, they have stories to tell about how bloody bad those things are.
Yeah, and
that protects us to save our money and instead give that money to a good game.
Have you seen the state of Star Wars Outlaws? You know, the game that doesn't let you be an outlaw?
Or like Saints Row.
I have seen clips.
Yeah, and
it's a mess.
That is stuff that you would accept in some cheap 90s game.
Right.
That's the thing I would accept out of an indie project that's in early development.
Well,
yeah,
some games that are not intentionally bad, but intentionally like a parody, or they're trying to subvert something, that is like, okay, what's the point there? And I think I played Zenith, which was designed to poke fun at, it's kind of like not a bandit's tale, a bard's tale. It's kind of like that. It's trying to poke fun at the genre, which is great. But it pokes fun at like names, like it pokes fun at the Final Fantasy series. It pokes fun at the Evil Empire trope. It's really fun if you like tropes and trying to make fun of storytelling.
It's basically the video game equivalent to a Princess Bride for RPGs.
Pretty close, but not quite. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I was gonna say, it's kind of like Witcher, how they'll take jabs at other franchises like Assassin's Creed and Skyrim.
There's a lot of games that do that though. Like a bunch of GTA games have references to the driver games. I think there's references to GTA in Saints Row.
Yeah, Saints Row is a great example because it's designed to be a semi-parody or using all the tropes from, I don't know, GTA and doing their own goofy thing. And sometimes it went too far. And you got other crap.
And sometimes it's just corporate, cringy, out-of-touch nonsense like the reboot.
Right. And that happens. So you could say we're scared of those because of them not dancing on that fine line and us going, well, this is not what we got from the previous one. We wanted the previous one with more stuff, with more elements, with more refined elements of gameplay or whatever mechanics we want. And that's why it's hard to find these games done well, because they don't do them anymore.
A disclaimer. Let's get this out of the way. I am not saying in any way, shape, or form that we cannot criticize bad video
That's
games.
kind of how you're coming across.
But come on, say
Where is
it.
it? Where is it?
Constructive criticism is crucial. Video game developers are obviously human beings, and like every other human being on the planet, we need to learn from our mistakes.
How do you do constructive criticism without pointing out flaws and errors and mistakes and bad parts?
This is the great part of the argument is it has to be constructive criticism by my definition, and anything else is something called bad faith arguing because you didn't do it my way. You didn't say the things that I said in the way I said them. That's the problem with these people.
Yeah, you know who also argues like that about only constructive criticism is allowed, anything else is bad and you should just shut up. There was just a few weeks ago where the guy who runs Valuetainment interviewed a high-ranking Chinese Communist Party official, and he said that exact same thing. That of course you can criticize the government, but it must be constructive criticism.
Oh yeah, and
define constructive criticism.
Yeah, and when I
things where you only give solutions, but you never ever mention anything bad or that anyone is at fault.
Yeah, and in the case of the videos I used to make, it's like, oh, you're too boring, you're too technical, you're not trying to entertain me. It's like I don't want to entertain you. I want to show you it's a flaw, and you can gauge whether or not you think it's worth your time. And then we'll go to the next flaw and the next one, the next Oh, you're so boring. It's like, listen, there's plenty of YouTubers out there who will make jokes about everything or things that are actually good because it's repetitive or they've seen it before or whatever. Go to them. It's not a big deal if I can point out a plot hole or a character moment that doesn't make any sense. Oh, it's boring. I love the character. You're boring to me. Okay, fine. I'll be funny. Oh, you're not being constructive. You're making a joke out of it. It's like, well, what do you want?
Smart. At first, I assume those are different people saying that.
Oh,
and even
okay.
if it's the same people saying that, that's a double bind. And a double bind can only be because there's the damned if you do, damned if you don't. And the only solution to that is to do the right thing. Do the correct thing. Ignore the bickering and just do the right thing anyway, whatever anyone says. It's the only way to deal with it. So do the right thing and keep being technical.
Sadly, it's depressing when you get to like the last episode of the Fallout TV series and your brain is like, oh, this is so there's nothing fun. Like you can make jokes about how bad, let's say, the entire series of the Cowboy Bebop live adaptation was because it's so ridiculous, and you can just crack jokes after jokes because it's fun for you to do it. It's fun for you to watch it because it's so silly. But when you watch Fallout, you're like, this is drama. This is supposed to be serious, and then all this lore gets thrown out the door. Let's invent people with their heads exploding. Let's change how all the science works. It's just everything is just a mess. Yeah. But because it's so fast, people aren't paying attention, and it's fun to watch. And oh wow!
And then you look at the some of the biggest critics on YouTube, the entertaining ones, and they suddenly say, "Oh, the Fallout show is great. It's totally not woke either." Although they see the message everywhere, but where it is. What the hell is going on, people? You selectively blind?
Yeah, it's kind of like
I believe they are.
watching the train wreck that was the first two seasons of Picard. It starts like, okay, this has promise, and it just goes this ridiculous spiral downhill.
There's a second season of that.
There were 3, apparently.
That's 3.
There are 3 seasons of Picard. Yeah, I know.
They had more money to wash.
I don't know what to say about the third one. People liked it. I stopped around the second episode. I'm like, yeah, it's not horrible, but it doesn't. It's like passing the mediocre bar. I'm like, I don't care anymore. This is not interesting. Anyway, different topic.
Achieve success without understanding why you failed. So when a video game developer puts out a poor quality product, constructive criticism is absolutely necessary and warranted. I mean, they're putting out a product after all. People are purchasing said product. The consumers are within their right.
You're just repeating yourself at this point.
There's that fucking word again.
Yeah.
What, the consumer?
Consume. Yeah.
We're not pigs.
Criticism.
I mean, I've been
they
called
spent
a
their
pig
money on the
before.
gosh darn thing after all, didn't they? But here's the thing that bugs me. There appears to
Yep, there we go. There's the butt.
Yeah.
As always, everyone's got a butt.
Yeah. Asmongold is bigger than me. Angry Joe is bigger than me. I don't like
But
people's
he
opinions.
just spent several minutes rambling, getting to the but.
Only 3.
be a sizable portion of people on the internet who wholeheartedly believe that bad quality products should just not be allowed to exist at all.
Okay, this is how.
That's a straw man. Holy shit.
This is how. Well,
Yes.
I'm going to say certain
Bad
producers.
products shouldn't exist because you should have quality control.
Yeah,
The
certain
point
producers.
is that you should try to avoid making bad quality.
Yeah, this happened with.
Because bad quality doesn't sell.
This happened with EA, and they looked at BioWare's production time with. What the hell is that? Their online thing that got killed a few years ago. The latest thing they made.
Anthem.
They said.
Valorant?
They said, "What is this? What have you done?" And the only thing they liked was the flying part in the suits. Everything else,
that's Anthem.
garbage.
What have you done?
For 4 years, nothing happened. So they're like, "Okay, you gotta get this thing going out the door."
Oh, I got a really funny story about Anthem. There was a dude who got banned from Anthem for just playing the game, saying he had too good of loot, he had to be cheating, and it was breaking the game's economy.
Really?
He was a streamer too, so he just showed himself looting the chests that they put in the game. And there is no trading to break any kind of economy in that game.
Really?
Great job, EA.
So he got
one of
the
the 5 people who are actually playing your game.
So he got the official version of the ancient trope of you are on some free Counter-Strike server and you're just too good, and all these normies, all these casuals think you must be cheating because they keep dying to you. And he got it officially from the company because he was too good.
Yeah.
But didn't Bethesda also do that to a lot of people because they even people who had never gone to the cheat room because they had too good gear in Fallout 76?
I don't know anything about that. I thought it was really funny that EA banned one of the 7 people who are actually playing Anthem just for playing the frickin' game. That's funny. That's not very funny for the guy who dropped $60 on a game, but funny to me.
The idea behind
he already paid.
Yeah, but the idea was that a producer, not a QA, not a dev, not a designer, a producer said, "Where are you going? What is this thing? Get this out the door, or we're done." Because they've been waiting for years and years, and they promised and they didn't deliver. So yes, it can happen that way, whether it's from the producer level or from the consumer level. It's the same argument. You're like, "Oh, this thing sucks. It's not ready. It's unbaked. It's in beta. It's broken." And we've been getting a lot of those games past few years.
apply to video games, but also to other forms of entertainment media, whether it be movies, television, or comic books, what have you. There are people out there who are genuinely offended by the mere existence of these poor quality products.
They're not offended. They're criticizing poor quality products.
Yeah,
they're calling out shit.
Like, you
take a shit on my plate, I'm gonna say something about it.
Yeah, we went from video games to comic books, which we know the comic book industry is dying and has been dying for a very long time. Movies.
I can see the relevance of what he's talking about, but
we're
going to criticize bad products.
Well,
we're going to call it out.
It's all entertainment.
This is
Are some people a bit vitriol? I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's just what he says is so brain dead and emotionally extortive that I have trouble hearing what he says. That he actually says it.
He also
has a very dull tone to his voice. Like he's trying to speak softly, but still speak where he can be heard. There's a very dull tone there. Like just talk normally. Like I hate when people talk in such a dramatic tone like this to make myself sound more sophisticated. Nobody talks like that.
No, that's the velvety voice. The velvety voice only exists to emotionally manipulate you into submission.
Nobody talks like that.
I know people who talk like that, but it's not their normal voice. But they always talk like that. They always talk with a fake voice. I've met these people. It's creepy.
All right.
It's infuriating.
And it perplexes me because we need bad products.
What?
No, the fuck we don't.
Wait a second. Did he say we need bad products, not bad media, but bad products?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said we need bad products.
So if I buy a car, we need a bad car? Are you serious? I could die.
Is he high?
So if you buy a car, you need to have a car that will explode 12 seconds. That will explode if you go above 30 miles an hour.
Write that down.
It's so that diverse people can also make games, and we then have to play their diverse slop games and give them money for participating in the making of games.
There needs to be a video game that gives everyone who plays it cancer. Oh, wait a minute, that already exists. It's called Dustborn.
This video is giving me cancer.
Yeah, but let's say we eliminate all bad. Let's say all of our games, all the stories in the games, the visuals, everything is high quality, right? Then, guess what? We'd have this wonderful argument about this really highbrow, I don't want to be a dick about it, but we'd be these really poncy losers who are going, oh, Final Fantasy 37 is way better than what it back in the day. All these silly things of how good it is. And then we'd have these amazing arguments on the nuances of like the story or the graphics or whatever the thing was. And that would be amazing because we'd be obviously first world problems, but we'd be having these really complex arguments because everything's so detailed and wonderful. And how do we make it better? How do we make the wheel rounder? How perfect can this wheel get? Like, I don't know. Let's find out. Like, that'd be incredible.
Why do we need bad products?
I can tell you. So that we know how good we have it and that we are more accepting of subpar games, of subpar products that are still not good, but they're not that bad. And that's how you are cooked like a frog in the water.
Oh my god, that was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard somebody say.
That is pretty much the only argument I could give for the existence of bad products.
And look, once in a while, so I'm a tea aficionado, and once in a while, I buy tea bags. The really bad quality, because what goes into tea bags is called dust. There are 7 levels of quality of tea, and the lowest is dust. That's the stuff you broom together at the end. That is what goes into tea bags. It's absolute crap.
It's basically the leftovers.
Yes, exactly. And it looks like dust. That's why it's called dust. It's because what you want is full leaves, not this dust. When you drink that, when you make that, it will be bitter. It will barely have any taste to it. It will be horrible. And the thing is, when you drink that, you get like a reset, and you can appreciate your high quality tea again. Because if you always drink only your high quality tea, your favorites, they will get bland after a while. But the thing is, with video games, I don't think I need that process to ground myself with some bad games that cost $60. I think that's unnecessary.
Very unnecessary.
Media, we need bad video games, bad movies, etc., etc. We need the bad in order to contrast it with the good.
Okay.
No,
Not with this.
As I stated
definitely
before,
not with that.
I would love to contrast the good with the better. And then we go, because nothing, there's always something, like there's always a better adventure, there's always a better story of something, there's always a better control scheme, whatever. And then we go, oh, that's the bar? Because that's what video games do all the time. They steal from other games, go, oh, this is an RPG element, this is a first-person shooter element, there's a turn-based element, and they add it to their thing. Like, does it work? Does it make it fun? Does it make it more interactive? You have more control. That's what we want. We don't want to have this crappy pseudo, I thought of a good mechanic, I never tested it, here, let's sell it. I don't want that. I want tried and true stuff. And you get that because games are so competitive. There's so many of them. And you go, you know what? This tiny little, I don't know, not even double A, whatever you want to call that, did a mechanic from Super Mario RPG I loved. And they used it. It's great. So we want the good stuff and only the better stuff to come out.
There's also the argument for personal preference because like something one person likes and has as their favourite game might be, might not be another person's, personal favourite, but they might not even like it. For example, who here likes the Earthbound games?
I've never played them. I have no interest in them.
Yeah, it's a niche.
Ginga, you've played Earthbound?
Nope.
No? Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, Earthbound on paper is a game I should like, but I've played it and I found it lacking and kind of boring.
Well,
I mean, that's how I
it.
felt about not Earthbound, Undertale.
Right. The same. I would say they're very similar in that what they're trying to do. The comedy,
I mean, I did play Final Fantasy IV a little bit before I ended up trying Earthbound and really enjoyed that one. That's also got a few years on it.
And the relevant point is, we already have tons of historical examples of games, of movies, and so on, of bad media. We don't need more. And when we're kids, when we're young, we come across those bad things once in a while. Or we at least learn about it around the corner, about some documentary or review. Because those are not necessarily things you want to waste your time on. We know what's good, we know what's bad, and no, we don't need to play bad games to know what the good ones are, because the good ones we enjoy.
Yeah,
exactly. We don't need shovelware shit to recognize shit.
And it's not just to video games. We can talk about people, relationships, diners, food, car, like anything. You always want the best you can get, and if you could sell your car, I don't know, you're doing well at your job, get a better car, with better handling, better suspension, better whatever gadgets you like. You always want to get better. You do not want to say, you know what, I'm having way too much fun. I need to have, like, I don't know, let's go back to Dune 2, like the original RTS. Let's just go back to that. We have to select one unit at a time. That'd be great. Just one unit at a time moving across the map. That'll take me 20 minutes for my army. We don't want that anymore. We want fast, fun, exciting, challenging stuff that makes sense.
The only reason you should ever have a game that's bad is if it's the point of it is a comedy. Like, what's that game called? Like, I Want to Be the Man or something, where it's intentionally balls to the walls hard, where it barely
I want to be the guy.
I want to be the guy. Like, that's a comedy game. Like, it's meant to give you a laugh when something bullshit happens that kills you, because that's the point. It's a comedy. It's a joke. And even then, since it's deliberately so, you can't even call that bad because it's by design.
I mean, it's not even bad game design. It's just for the most part, there are a few traps that are rather unfair and unforgiving and bad.
That's also kind of the point of the game.
All right, we are 3 minutes and a half in, and he is going into some weird way that I'm not sure why or how he got there. I hope he means good and better, not good and worse.
No, he means good and worse.
I think trial and error is a bad gameplay. Is a bad philosophy to have in designing stuff.
We need the bad so we can learn from it and make more good works of art and good quality product.
Okay.
This is complete insanity. This is complete bullshit. You have never made anything, or you know better. We don't need the bad stuff to make the good, because you know what? There are people who inherently know or have already learned themselves what is bad and what works, and they make what works. They make what is good. That's why they make good products. That's the big names in the industry, or in art, for that matter. You are the one who needs to make some errors and some failures in order to get better. We don't need it on the market. People don't need to buy it. They don't need to finance your incompetence. You are full of crap. You never thought this through. You don't know how reality works. You're an idiot stuck in his mother's basement or attic or wherever you are stuck in. My God.
All right.
Video game or a bad movie gets put out into the world, this should be the opportunity for a learning experience.
What?
For whom?
Maybe the guy who made. Maybe the guy who made
because
the movie.
Because you want there to be still people who make bad games. So who's supposed to learn?
You're
an idiot.
That's a retarded ass take.
Yes. I try to not use the word. It's difficult. It makes it really difficult not to use the word.
Yeah, no, it's a very...
We need bad... You know what? I say we need bad video so we can call you out on your crap. How does that feel, buddy?
Yeah, it's a very juvenile take on things that if you make stuff, like if you learn to make, I don't know, apple pie, and you got the sugar ratio with the flour messed up, you don't need to know that, oh, that's not how you make apple pie. If you just followed the recipe and you go, oh, that's the proper ratio, now I think, someone said about your preferences. Then you could say, okay, well, I like a slightly sweeter apple pie, or my clients like it a bit more appley. Then you can tweak the recipe as it stands, because that's why we have recipes. It's not, we don't have all this history of cooking, and it means nothing. You know, when you go into I don't know if you guys have ever seen competitions for cooking, but to even get in, you have to submit recipes, and the chefs on the judging, they go, okay, what's your idea for this? And if they see anything out of order, like if you have like 2 bags of sugar, they'll be like, what the hell are you doing? No, you don't use 2 bags. That's crazy. You're going to poison people. Like, so there's all these rules involved in making and conducting yourself as a professional, because you have standards that you must meet. It's the same with video game design, with development, with production. There's all these professionals working together. And when things don't work, it's not because they had bad design per se, or experimental design. That could be a totally different issue. It's because they didn't have the proper time to play test, to bug test, to see if it works right, even if it sounds good on paper, or you borrow it from something else, but you know how to make it work properly with the control scheme or whatever. So there's all these standards that a professional making software for entertainment purposes knows what to do and only to do. And there's a million things they don't know about what not to do, because you never went that way. So we should never have to go, hey, you know what? Let's break the control scheme. Let's do this. The only time I could think of that worked out positively is pure fluke with Devil May Cry and how it was created, where they amped up the frame rate for whatever reason. And they went, wow, this is fun. We can make a whole other game with this. Not the Resident Evil thing we were making. we can use this somewhere else. So it's kind of like discovering a solution to a problem you're not working on and going, we can use that elsewhere. And that's what you did.
It's experimentation.
Exactly. Yeah. So if he's saying, if the good guys who design games experiment and try something new, like Pikmin or a 4X game on the moon, or it's like, great, try it out. But then you have to play it before you release it and say, is this fun? Okay.
Yeah, good game designers, they try out tons of ideas, and let's say 80 out of 81 go back to the drawer and never make it out again because it didn't work. Good developers do not make crap games because they preemptively identify what's bad about them and fix that. Only the incompetent release the bad stuff anyway. So what you should actually learn is reflect upon yourself. Improve before you harass everyone with your garbage.
Yeah, this feels a lot like complaining about what other people are saying, and he's trying to summarize it in a way that follows some kind of rubric to build something when he has no clue as to how to do that. It's a weird take. I've never. Well,
it's also not providing any examples to what he's talking about. He's just talking over Battlefield 2042 footage.
No, it's basic juvenile sophistry. He thinks he has found some key of wisdom that nobody has ever thought of. Really, it is nonsense.
All right, we're 4 minutes in, and I bet if we keep going from there too, it's going to get worse, and then we're just going to skip to the end because.
And we're already at the end.
Why bother?
Airs their grievances and provides their constructive criticism, and the creators absorb all of this, take it all into
In an ideal world, yeah, maybe.
account, and then use this information to either improve the piece of content that people take issue with, or utilize it as a foundation to create a better piece of content in the future. When it comes to video games in particular, some of the best video games of all time are built upon iteration and learn.
And some of the worst developers are incapable of doing any of that, like Bright Rock Games, who just double down on being crap and nonsensical and wasting tax money.
The only example I could think of for what he's talking about is No Man's Sky, which had a disaster at launch, and now it's renowned as one of the best survival crafting games on the market.
Except
because he actually listened to feedback and. Frankly, but he bit off way more than he could chew in the development.
Does Arkham Knight count for this on PC?
That was just a bad PC port that they fixed later.
They didn't just fix it. They ended up making that the best version of the game.
Yeah.
One of the other exceptions in the other direction in the industry was Peter Molyneux. Absolutely amazing ideas, lacking executions. In part because the technology was missing, in part because the hardware technology was missing, in part because he ran out of funds, because, everything was missing. But define genres.
Yeah.
That was great. But that is where, you can make the argument to a degree. But that's not what he's talking about.
Yeah, it's the...
Wait, it's of what?
A what?
There's gaming on about Pit of...
We're talking about Peter Molyneux?
What is it?
Peter Molyneux, the French game designer who ran Bullfrog and Lionhead Studios. Notable games are Populous, Dungeon Keeper, Black and White. Fable later on. He defined the
first one.
He defined the whole god game genre.
Yeah, Populous was his first.
That to this day, many people just do not get right.
Yeah,
like Bright Rock Games, they completely missed the point.
I was thinking.
I was going to say
White is abandonware.
And I was going to say at the end. At the end of it all, Lionhead still got shut down.
Remind me who Lionhead was.
The game
Lionhead was Fable.
Black and White and Fable.
Okay.
I was going to give the example of Ken
that,
Levine.
so since Lionhead is shut down, that explains why the new Fable game coming out, and I don't even remember when, doesn't look like Fable. It looks like generic open RPG with no charm to it.
The shutdown of Lionhead is the fundamental reason why Microsoft has acquired so many studios in the past decade.
And the main woman character is an ugly bloke in a dress.
I would forgive the ugly bloke in a dress if it had more style to it. Like the first 3 Fable games, those are some ugly character designs, but they look like they're out of a Grimm's fairy tale storybook, so there's a charm to it.
Not so much Fable 3. Fable 3's garbage.
Well, Fable 1 and 2, there's a charm to it. Yeah, the characters are ugly, but there's a charm to it. It looks like it's out of a storybook. This just looks like generic RPG.
Yeah, I was going to say that there's plenty of games where they promise too much, and Anthem was one of them, where they showcase too much, and they get less than what was advertised. And the best example was Ken Levine's work on BioShock. And I think he's now working on another game. It's been years since it was announced.
Judas.
Yes, I think that's what it was called.
They showed some of it off. I believe it was either the State of Play or the Microsoft Games Expo.
Yeah, but that was years ago. I thought that was
just a couple months ago.
Oh, really? I never saw it. Oh, great.
They showed off some of the Judas gameplay at either the most recent, one of the recent State of Plays or Microsoft Game Expos. One of the two.
I would not be surprised if the trailers or gameplay that they have this year is going to be different than what we see next year if it gets released next year.
Probably.
Yeah, that's a big problem with these people. They promise or showcase so much, or they fake the trailer, and they lie to you. So you're like, okay, well, that's not what was advertised. So, and that's hopefully what's not going to happen with Dragon Age: The Veilguard. We'll see. Anyway.
I don't have high hopes for it.
Mistakes of not just oneself, but the mistakes of others. If we do not have available video games of various qualities to contrast and compare from, how can we possibly hope to reach an understanding for not only improvement, but also appreciation?
Okay, this guy is done. I'm done with him. To say that is so
To answer
ignorant.
your question is, you keep what works, you get rid of what didn't.
This is like saying I've never read more than one book in my life, and I've never read another genre or another book of the same genre by a different author. That's the dumbest, most childish thing you can say.
He's just defending shit. It's okay it's okay with when developers release subpar, crappy, shitty games because people can learn from them.
He's bordering on gaslighting.
Okay, we're gonna go to the end or the last 2 minutes because
that's just inane rambling nonsense. He's not even trying to gaslight people. If he is, he's not doing a very good job.
He said it's bordering on it.
He's pretty much defending mediocrity, if not crap, and saying we need crap to compare to the good stuff. And I'm like, I really don't think that. Can you imagine if every woman you've ever met was gorgeous and it was different versions of gorgeous? You'd be like, oh my God, I live in the most amazing times because everything around me. And then you'd have this standard of beauty that would just blow your mind every single time. Yes, your emotional reaction would dip because you see the same amazing works of art walking past you every day. But you'd be like, oh, this is what humanity has produced. Genetics, engineering, I don't know. How could we do this? Men want to know. I want to know. It would be amazing. And then we'd have this wonderful, peaceful world. Well, not necessarily peaceful, could be even more warlike, I have no idea. But we'd be awestruck every time we walked out of our house, going, oh, this is what I'm living for. This is what it means to be alive as a human being.
That's just me going to China, the Philippines, or Vietnam.
Oh, really?
Or Japan.
Gorgeous women?
He likes Asians.
There's gorgeous women everywhere.
All right. Let's get to the last 2 minutes. Okay, this is good enough for me.
Shuddered. If even a single bad video game releases in a year, well, the entire year in gaming is now officially the worst year in gaming ever. And the
Hyperbole.
video
Hyperbole. Who cares?
Wait, did you actually skip? Because it doesn't sound like he's saying anything different.
Oh, yeah?
I really do think he just ranted on about why it's okay, why some games are shitty for 10 minutes.
Well,
for eight fucking minutes, he's been going, it's okay that games have been bad.
Yeah.
I really think it's just 8 minutes of just defending shit.
Yep.
Or making excuses for it.
Okay.
game industry is dying and video games are no longer fun anymore. We'll just ignore all the other hundreds of truly fantastic
Maybe he's not understanding when people say that. It could be to them, they're not interested in games that year or this season or whatever because everything's kind of mediocre or we've seen it before. It happens with people with cars, happens with people with movies, TV shows, books. They go, you know what? I'm just not into this kind of music anymore. It just doesn't really appeal to me. It's not doing much.
They make a joke about that in GTA 5 where Michael is a movie buff. He asks his fixer friend about it. He goes, I'm not into movies and nothing but superheroes and remakes anymore.
Yeah. Good joke.
He comes across like somebody who only sees what is immediately in front of him and nothing else. So if he only sees, people complain, he himself doesn't see how happy people are about Black Myth Wukong and similar releases this year.
Yeah. Not only that.
That's a game I need to pick up, actually. It looks fun.
But think of this way. Imagine there's all kinds of excellent games in different genres, different art styles, and you can go, this is a 16-bit roguelike. It's not for me, but I can tell because I'm a smart intellectual person who's played games before, goes, this is really well crafted, looks very well animated, has some voice acting, whatever. It looks fantastic. It's just not for me. And then you'd have that as a baseline to compare to your full 3D MMORPG, whatever, and say, this is what I like. And some of those elements from the amazing game I don't want to play because I'm not into that are there. And now you have a really good basis of comparison between two quality games, even if you don't like the other one. Because even if it's excellent for someone else, it doesn't mean it's going to be good for you.
It's just not going to click with someone. Like, I don't like, earlier we mentioned Earthbound and Undertale being very niche. Like, I get why some people would like this.
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't like it. Like, it's annoying to me.
Exactly. And that's, I did not like Planescape Torment when it first came out. I was like, the graphics, I didn't like the setting. The D&D didn't really work for me. And then I waited a few years and I went back to it. Okay, well, I can get past that because I like story. And people say, it's a great story. I'm like, okay, fine. And then you sit back.
That's how I felt with Far Cry Primal, but when I went back and replayed it was, I had fun with it.
Far Cry is an amazing
Don't even compare.
It's different things, yeah. But what I'm saying is, on initial inspection, you're like, first impressions. And then you grow up and say, I like games. I like stories. I like to learn and have a dramatic experience. And then you realize these guys are writing a book. They just happen to put it into a weird real-time engine with pause, and you're like throwing the book around the room and picking it up every time you hit pause. So it is the most, I wouldn't say the most immersive. I would say it's probably the best in terms of telling a story that throws so many ideas at you that you never had before. And puts you in a world that you want to keep even though there's no sense of romance, there's no sense of beauty. It's all just dark and dank and evil and everything's bad. And then you go, I'm seeking redemption. And that's the only light out of all. And you're the evilest of the bunch. And you don't even know it. And it's such a beautiful thing to reveal that to the audience and to see where you're going. Like, that's me. I'm controlling that guy. This devil that you don't even want to be a devil anymore. And there's always the allusion to the gamer, the third party, the force that's beyond our understanding. And I've seen a few games do that in side-scrollers, believe it or not. Death's Gambit did that. And what was the other one I played I really liked? Let me just bring up my Steam real quick. Ast Libra. That's the other one, another side-scroller that does the same fourth wall, referring to the gamer, the one in control, guiding the heroes on. I like that. But that's when you've hit all the basics. You've done all the basics that you're allowed to hit for drama, for dramatic structure. Play around with the fourth wall. You can do that. You have the freedom. You've got my attention. Your lore is there. Your narrative is solid. Well, not perfect, but it's solid enough for me to go, I can believe in the verisimilitude of you breaking the wall a bit, and then you finish it off with the denouement or the ending or whatever you want to do. That's it. And Planescape Torment did that in several stages because there's multiple endings and multiple characters and all these wonderful choices.
I just like pretending to be a guy who can nuke cities with his eye lasers.
I don't know if that's in the game, but there are parts where you pretty much cheat death several times and you threaten it. So
It's the whole point.
It's in some games. Oh, the power fantasy.
yeah, it's true.
That in some cases it's the power fantasy is being the guy who is never seen and sneaking past.
Planescape Torment, it's more of a philosophical thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of the con has the
Yes.
philosophy. Like that's the beauty of the game because it's all discovered. You have to discover what you are, and it's through the things you did in your previous incarnations that you created a religion. And this guy who's been following you believes in it, even though it's not real. And it's wise. There's wisdom to be found in this religion you created. That's how crazy of a genius this evil version of yourself was. And you're listening to this guy talking about the Circle of Zerthanon. You're like, holy shit, this is fake. But you
Pulled
invented
this right out of my ass, and he believes it.
and it was brilliant because it made sense. And you're like, oh my god, it was all part of this. Where there's a subjugation of his people, and they use this religion as a form of liberation from their bondage. I'm like, holy crap, this is incredible. And that's just a thing you could do to talk to a guy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do that.
There's more good and profound and timeless writing in the side stories of Planescape Torment than in the entire body of writing of what we got in the past years from the woke.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I believe mechanically, Planescape, the Torment, Icewind Dale, and Baldur's Gates 1 and 2 is based on 2nd edition AD&D.
Yes,
so.
but we don't talk about the gameplay mechanics of Planescape Torment because it's basically irrelevant and it's horrible, and Planescape Torment is the big exception to the rule of Shigeru Miyamoto's line that gameplay is everything. Because the gameplay of Planescape Torment is the text adventure. It's not the walking around and stabbing things. Because it's one of those games that you can play without stabbing anything.
Ultimately, it's a game about adventure and exploration. Like that's the whole thing, is to explore what are you, who are you, and what did you do. And almost every room in the game, there's something about. There's a few that nothing to do with you, but there's something about your previous life or someone you affected in your previous life that's haunting you, or you left something for yourself. And it's really ingenious and crazy when you think about how they designed it, because everything's
Don't
about
open it. Don't open it.
Don't open the box.
Don't open the box.
Okay.
This very same year, they don't matter as much as the bad ones. Now I wish I had answers for you. I wish I understood myself why this extremism exists. Why nowadays there is such a fear
Criticizing
and
a game
hatred
is
for
extremism?
any bad quality content. Why there's this apprehension towards learning.
How do you learn if you don't criticize?
Criticism is extremism. Calling out bad games and
Only people
dumbass
who
developers and
Only
executives
nas-
is extremism.
only narcissists who cannot take anything negative about themselves being said, which includes any criticism of their work, anything they produce, because they cannot distinguish between what they worked on and themselves. It's all extensions of the self. Only those people do not want anything negative ever to be said about them, which is the very reason why they can't improve.
It was smiling.
Why they call that a personal attack. They will call constructive criticism, objective criticism, a personal attack. They are the ones who are offended by objective reality because it refuses to bend to their will. And why they then drift to an ideology that promises them if they just wish hard enough, then reality will change because everything is subjective.
I think Smiling Friends made a joke about that where Pim, I think his name is trying to criticize a guy's writing. He said, "Oh, you can criticize it. I won't take it too personally." He doesn't even get to the criticism, and he immediately shuts it down because he took it as a personal attack.
Yeah, that's narcissism.
All right. Almost done.
Mistakes and failures nowadays. I wish I knew where this irrational mindset and belief system came from. But alas, to the best of my knowledge, all we can do for now is push back against this rhetoric with facts, logic, reasoning, nuance,
All
and
things
of
you
course
don't
just
have.
a wee bit of ribbing and teasing now and then. Essentially,
Also,
just
it's okay
calling
when
these
you do
fucking
it.
idiots what they are.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Fucking idiots.
Whoa.
So he's the
Facts,
voice.
logic,
He's the
reasoning.
He's the voice of reason and being
Immediate-
logical
some fucking idiots.
and using it. But everyone else is a fucking idiot. Really.
What a
What?
snake.
I'm still caught up on the criticism and extremism thing, but
Yeah,
you
it's
say
just
you
like his
just
other
said that
video.
calling it out is bad, and now you're saying it's okay. What the fuck are you talking about?
It's okay when he does it.
It's just like his Dear Conservatives video. What did he say in that one?
I don't know. I wasn't in that one.
I didn't watch it.
Well, I'm gonna read a comment that someone wrote last month. This is the most recent comment. I just left one myself, but this is from someone called at dr -- bad games are more common nowadays than they was in the past. For example, the vast majority of games for the SNES and Genesis were quality games. It was very difficult to find games for those systems that weren't fun and unique. Nowadays, it's harder to find good games on modern systems, and their best games are remakes. Even in the beginning of your video, most of the examples of good games that you listed were remakes. I think the problem is developers nowadays focus too much on graphics and not enough on gameplay and story. And
That is an absolute problem with modern gaming.
Yeah.
It's correct on the sequels and remakes, but it leaves out a crucial part of gaming history, and that is the gaming crash of the 80s, which was just slop after slop after slop being churned out, with the peak crap being the ET game, which was cobbled together in a month and shoved out. And even that got better reviews than Concord.
Even that got better reviews than The Last of Us Part 2,
All
which
right.
there's a meme on that where it's
Yeah,
E.T.
but
almost
the relevant
strangling Abby.
The relevant thing is, the reaction to that was Nintendo inventing their Nintendo seal of quality, which sadly is not worth as much today, because Hyrule Warriors was full of bugs and game crashes and all of that jazz. So that didn't deserve that. And, well, we agree on Tears of the Kingdom having a horrible story. So, while the gameplay is fine, and it's another good example for Shigeru Miyamoto being not correct enough. Gameplay isn't everything, because the gameplay of Tears of the Kingdom is fine.
Honestly,
But the
Tears of
writing is
Kingdom-
so bad, it makes me never want to touch it again.
I agree. Like, Tears of the Kingdom feels more like a tech demo for what the Switch is capable of. Which is, I can give Breath of the Wild some credit on that, some slack on that, because it was a launch title. Tears of the Kingdom does not have that excuse.
anyway,
Reminder, Breath of the Wild, was it a port of a Wii U game, or was the Wii U version a port of the Switch game?
It's a port. The Switch version is the port.
It is a cross-generational game because of just how many times Breath of the Wild got delayed. They just went ahead and decided to release it on the Wii U alongside the Switch because they originally announced it during the Wii U era.
And with the Wii U having had its troubles, they wanted to be sure to not have a dead launch with the next console.
anyway, what I was going to say is after this, he left a comment. And in his comment, he said, everything you just wrote is objectively false. This is the GamerTronShow guy.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, have mercy.
So,
Okay, I guess Baldur's
just a
Gate
lying
isn't a
snake.
remake, but it's a continuation of a long-standing franchise. It's nothing new.
I would say they put a lot of effort into Baldur's Gate 3. And if it was any other game or its own thing, I'd be impressed. But because they took
Yeah.
the Baldur's Gate lore and the gameplay and changed everything. I'm like, okay, this is not what I signed up for. I'm sure you'll love the storytelling and the characters and all the voice acting. It's all great, but it's not Baldur's Gate. It's something you've transformed it into something else.
Just like that new Dragon Age imitation isn't Dragon Age, but something.
Yeah, I'm not. Again, it's not necessarily bad. I don't know yet. It could be fun. I don't know, but it's not Dragon. Dragon Age has not changed too much. It's always been goofy and dark and all kinds of things. Now it's colorful and silly. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, now it's neon colors with quirky humor.
I don't know. We don't know yet.
Now it's
And don't have too many battle options. It might just confuse the player.
Yeah, they want to streamline the focus. It's so action packed. You have to cut down on the number of characters on the screen and the number of characters you can control because it's too much, guys. You can't enjoy it.
Oh, you remember how in Dragon Age Origins everyone was, basically had their backs to a wall and they were fighting for their survival. It was their last stand and they all seemed hopeless. No barely any hope. In Veilguard, everyone's having the time of their life. It's like a party.
Yeah, that reveal trailer didn't impress me.
All right, let's get the stream memes.
And everything's fucking purple.
Yeah.
For some reason.
All right.
Like
That's
purple's
how you
good.
know. That's how you know the game has the flag of War Conquest in it.
All right. I don't know.
I mean, purple's fine as an accenting color, but it doesn't need to be the only color.
I don't know.
They've ruined the color purple for me.
I don't know who's referring to the Muppets here, but I'm assuming it's the title of the video because that's what we
just the entire video in general is just nope. Nope.
What is Wang Tang Atomic Tango? What the devil?
That's something from Fallout that looks like Fallout.
I'm guessing
That's
Wang
Fallout
Tang
3's
is
Mechanist,
China.
but that's a clip from Ancient Aliens.
Okay.
I'm guessing Wang Tang is China and Atomic Tango is nuclear war.
All right. Here's a short video. I hope from someone I can't read.
Pay attention, and you can learn a lot.
And that's not relevant, but it at least entertained me more than this video did.
That was Oblivion, I think. I can't. Is that?
Yeah, that's Oblivion.
Yeah.
All right.
That's Oblivion.
Dear God. That's another game that promised the world. And the AI was good. It wasn't perfect the way they explained it, but it was good.
Like you had some absolutely brain dead NPCs.
Yeah.
The NPCs in Oblivion was something special.
It was funny.
Stop right there, criminal scum.
The conversations they had, I legit witnessed a conversation where one guy greeted another guy, "Hello." The other guy just screamed, "No!"
Like the voice acting, it's so fucking bad. It's hilarious.
All right.
Like the voice acting in Oblivion is God's gift to mankind. I'm not joking. It's so dumb.
All right. That was a pretty bad take, and it didn't last that long. So we can be thankful for going back to our lives and drinking tea that is worth our price, whatever we bought.
Skip to the end, and it was just still him talking about nothing.
Yeah.
The last guy kept talking about bad faith arguments, and this video was basically just an example of many bad faith arguments just being made all at once.
Mm-hmm.
That's one way to see it, but yeah, this is something that I could talk to this guy for like 2 minutes and explain why he's missing the point or missing the context, because it seems as if he doesn't understand what he's arguing. And it wouldn't take that long to figure that out with him. So, but calling people names after all of that is just, come on, that's silly.
It's everybody has to make constructive criticism except me.
And
that's what he said at the end.
And it's all because he doesn't like other people's opinions, which is just childish.
And he outright defended the existence of sub-quality games. Like, we need these bad games to recognize good games. No, people are pretty good at recognizing when things do and don't work. It's like you can have a game that's phenomenal and still have issues with the game's
it is a strange
structure.
Yeah, it is a strange argument when you think about it, because he showed us a list of like games in 2023. Some of them weren't good, some of them were. You're like, okay, why do we need these bad games then? You have all these good ones. Let's compare good ones.
Tactica was on there. Like, it's an all right tactical game. It's not particularly hard, but it's nothing that special.
Yeah, like I could have made the argument, well, look at all these bad games. Let's forget about them because they're bad. We're not going to learn anything from them. That's how it's like driving a car. You see it launch off a cliff? Yeah, don't do that.
You see that guy driving on the median?
Yeah, don't
do
yeah,
that.
see, all this stuff you shouldn't do. There's a billion and an infinite number of things you shouldn't be doing. All the good things.
You shouldn't need someone to tell you that.
You don't need a bad product to figure that out. So let's focus on what's good and better and make it so that most things that are made, that's why we talk about the isekai genre in manga so much, because it's been done not to death, but it's been done so many times in so many ways with so many plots, so many methods
played out.
that we
One
know
I do like
what
is
works.
Farming in Another Life, where it's dude gets isekai'd into some kind of crazy magical world, starts a farm. I don't want to be the ultimate valiant hero. I just want to start a farm with big titty elf bitches and then make good food.
Right, and you can talk about the nuance of the adult content versus the wholesome content, or what's a good balance between the two if you like that style, because then you're getting into nuance of not necessarily subgenres, but of something that has a content element that you find appealing within that genre. So it's like, oh, maybe we need some murder mystery in there, maybe we need some adventure, or maybe you just want the best slow life farming story ever, and that would be like, oh, that's the standard for farm sim manga stories or whatever you want to talk about.
Like, it's just...
Oh.
Yeah?
Yeah?
I don't even know.
Okay.
You cut out.
Yeah.
I cut myself off because I lost my train of thought. This video, man.
Okay.
We don't need bad products. We don't need.
Yeah.
We recognize, like, you can have a game that you love.
We know.
And still recognize a fault with it.
I would rather have like 7 Martin Scorsese's making amazing mobster films and going, oh, there's so many mobster films this year. I'd be like, are they excellent? Yes. Then great. Let's argue about why and how we can make the best mobster and just keep going from there. That's what we should be doing.
More good Guy Ritchie films. More good. I want Paul Verhoeven to make more movies where he fails to convey what he actually wanted to say, but accidentally makes a timeless, absolutely gorgeous masterpiece.
Yeah, you can recognize faults in products you like. You don't need bad products to learn from. Like Hogwarts Legacy, for example. I thought it was an alright game, but the story is so ordinary. It's just a generic Chosen One story. It's a self-insert story. It's nothing special.
Would you expect anything else for a game marketed at 12-year-old Brits that are into magic school in Britain?
That's a fair point.
I'm not 12.
But it had such a vitriolic response to it because of weirdos on Twitter. That's the only reason it was so successful. Like, people just shut the hell up about it.
I don't think that's the only thing. No. That was not the only thing that was successful. It was so damn successful because it was bloody Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
That's what I just said. Beloved franchise.
Harry Potter also has people hate it because they hate J.K. Rowling, ignoring the fact that she's still a crazy left-wing feminist.
Yeah, people don't hate Harry Potter. They just, it
was Harry Potter, and it was a decent Harry Potter game. There were shitty Harry Potter games. This was not a shitty one, and that's that. So it's successful.
I just find the story to be incredibly generic, but the world around it is fun to explore. Like, there's an obscene level of detail put into the school. Like, it's clear that it was made by fans of the franchise.
Yeah, and I'd rather have a generic story than Tears of the Kingdom story.
Yeah. Also, the gameplay is really fun, just to chain your spells together to tear apart enemies or turn them into a chicken or whatever.
So evil.
Alrighty. Well, let's call it a night. Thank you guys. That was a horrible video, but it wasn't that long. And we got to the root of the problem, which was
This guy's got his head shoved up his ass.
more of can't see being past their nose. Yeah, pretty much. So thanks for the video. We'll see what we can do tomorrow with Anime Day. I know we missed it last week, but people have schedules and they don't want to cover anime videos all the time, but it happens. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Anyway, have a great night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
I think I'm going to drink a fifth of whiskey to get this out of my mind.
I was going to say I know earlier, we don't need bad things to know that when there's liquid shit going down the back of our legs,